For my service learning project, I served at Mission Arlington. Mission Arlington is a Christian organization over in Arlington that reaches the community through offering food, clothes, furniture, household items, medical and dental um, services, as well as some education opportunities like Bible studies. At Mission Arlington, you can come to them if you are homeless or in poverty or hit a hard time and you need some assistance in getting food or some clothes or any of the other services that I previously mentioned. And this will cost you nothing to get these, which is a huge blessing to the community in the DFW Metroplex. Um, the executive of Mission Arlington is uh, Tilly Bergen. She was the one who founded it. She is a missionary who originally served over in South Korea and then came back to Arlington and realized that she could be serving her community just as well as on mission. And in my time at serving here at Mission Arlington, I was able to work directly with organizing the food and the food pantry, and also um, taking the clothes and putting them out in their storefront for the people who are served or who are needing these clothes. And I got to see the joy and care and gratefulness that these people had whenever I brought out new clothes for them, and they were so excited to see what they could get, um, and they were truly grateful. So it really touched me to be able to serve them in that manner. When looking at Mission Arlington and relating it back to our textbook, a couple terms that came up that I think would match well with Mission Arlington is social responsibility. Obviously, this is a um, food bank slash homeless slash medical services they provide. So there is a sense of social responsibility that these Mission Arlington has. According to our textbook, the definition of social responsibility is the way a company's managers and employees view their duty or obligation to make decisions that protect, enhance, and promote the welfare of well-being of stakeholders and society as a whole. So basically, that just means how do we use our resources and our power and our position to make society or stakeholders better? Can we take the resources God has given us, like the donations of food, clothes, furniture, and the assistance of any medical personnel? Can we take those and be them good stewards with them and honor God and benefit society all in one? An example at Mission Arlington would be they take all of the food that is all donated to them and give back for free. They technically could charge like a low fee if they wanted to, but they don't. And they're seeing that there's a need in our community for those who just can't get by right now and they need assistance with the food or clothes on their back. And at Mission Arlington, they can see this need and they can provide it and meet that need and have a certain level of social responsibility that they put on themselves. Another term would be job design. This is basically how the people at the organization decide on what tasks to divide into what sections. And this is very clear at Mission Arlington. There's the food section. You're going to organize the food into certain perishable, non-perishable, or you're going to have your clothing department. You're going to be dividing those into your winter, your summer, your spring type clothing articles, or male, female, and children. You divide that out, and that's made very clear whenever you first walk in and try to volunteer. They're like, okay, what can you do, what can't you do? And then they send you off in certain departments, or if you're good and strong, then you're going to be over there taking the furniture out of people's trucks, or um, using that to using your abilities to serve them well. So an example, like I just said, with the volunteers, you're doing diverse roles in order to best suit their needs. So if you technically were a nurse or a doctor, and you could go spend a day or so helping with medical assistance to provide to these people, or if you're just there to volunteer and you don't have that background, you can go organize food, organize clothes, put food out for the people to get, put clothes out for people to get, and just the design of the job at the organization is set out in a way that allows people to best use their abilities to serve the community. And another term that applies well to Mission Arlington would be the communication network. None of this would be possible without in-depth communication among the different branches of teams. According to the textbook, basically the communication networks are the way information goes from teams throughout the organization. So you have your department that's like more of your headquarters and corporate, I'll call it, offices. And these people are more dealing with the organization of teams. So if you go and sign in, they're going to send you to this department or that department. And then once you get to that food department, they're going to be like, okay, your job is now X or your job is Y, or you go and do this other activity. And there has to be communication between these. And one way they do it is they have walkie talkies and they'll be like, hey, I'm sending over 3 volunteers to come serve. And then they'll be looking out for them and they'll point them the right direction. And another way they communicate is through um, they have a software at their company that allows them to track who's working that day and who's not, and who came in to serve and when you log in and log out. And it allows them to keep them a little tight rein on who's actually there and who's serving. And it really just allows for a better communication across the board between departments that aren't always right next to each other. And then an example would be, let's say someone comes in, they're like, oh, they're allowed to get a TV today. That has to be communicated from to the first department where the person signed up to get a TV all the way to the people actually giving the TV. So you know who's actually getting what. So there has to be communication between these, and they do that through the walkie-talkies or email or Teams meetings. The level that this impacted me personally was I got to be a little more empathetic and sympathetic for these people and realize that they have deeper needs than I might not always know about in my daily life. Like struggling for clothes, I am grateful enough not to have to struggle with that, but these people do. And that really touched my heart, and seeing that these people are really grateful and have the joy and love in their eyes that we're able to serve them. And that really touched me. It also allowed me to improve my interpersonal skills working and talking with different people from all different walks of life. This really allowed me to get more in depth with them and experience what life is like with those people. And then in terms of career impact, I got to understand how these teams actually work together across different departments, and also gave me an insight in the nonprofit sector on how they're truly reliant on the volunteers and the people donating their time and energy. Thank you.